So the topic of the sermon today is a very important one. The topic of the sermon today is called motivation, or in other words, knowing why you do things. If you ask yourself so often, everything that you do, you need motivation. Everything. And if you have the right motivation, you try your best. You do your darndest to do well in it. You try so hard to do your best in it. But if you have the wrong motivation, you also try your best to not do it. You try your best to run away. You try your best to ignore it. So when it comes down to it, the important thing that we must have is the right motivation. Without understanding why we do something, why would we do it? And we don't know why we'd want to do it, and we don't try our best to do it. But once we understand why we do it, then we do it all out. For example, let's say that you have a child at your house. You raise this child, you take care of this child, you're responsible for this child. Why? Why are you responsible for this child? Why do you help this child? Why do you take care of this child? Because you understand that this child is yours. This child is your responsibility. This child will one day grow up and help you, in a sense, raise your family, help you build your family, help you build your family name. As you get older, they hopefully might take care of you. If you understand this, you try your best to take care of them. Now let's say that we brought you another kid, a random kid from anywhere, and just told you to take care of them. Would you take care of that child with the same love, the same care that you would take care of your own child? Probably not. Why? Because your motivation is different. What you expect to gain from it is different. So the important thing is understanding. Now in Buddhism, we do so many things that people these days sometimes don't like Buddhism anymore, because there's so many ceremonies, there's so many traditions, there's so many formalities, and why do we do these things? Today I will explain to you 3 main formalities that we do and why we should do them, so that finally we can understand why. The first thing is, as Buddhists, when we enter a temple, what do? We go to the Buddha room, we look for the Buddha statue, and we bow to the Buddha 3 times. Before we leave, we go to the Buddha statue, we bow to the Buddha statue 3 times before we leave. Have we ever stopped and wondered, why do we do this? Why do we have to get down on our knees, get down on our feet, bow our heads and our hands to this statue that's painted gold? It's not even real gold, just painted gold that looks like a person who existed 2,554 years ago. For what? Is this why people say Buddhists like to pray to statues? Buddhists are crazy about medallions and Buddha statues. But why do we do it? If we don't understand why we do it, we would just do it for no reason. We wouldn't care. We say, yeah, whatever, 1, 2, 3, done. Let me get out of here. I'm done. I'm going to go home. Or, okay, fine, I'll do it. My mom's telling me to do it. Or the people are watching me. I have to do it. But why do we do it? Have you guys ever stopped and wondered? Where did this come from? What's the point of it? Because we don't understand, when we do it, we don't care. We just do it. It's just something you do. Just like shaking hands. It's just something you do. But today, let me explain to you why we do it. Let me ask you a question, though. You have, for example, Lloyd. Would you be able to go home today and bow to Lisa 3 times? No. Lisa, where's Lisa? Lisa, would you be able to bow to Lloyd today 3 times? No. If you ask anyone who are husband and wife, can you bow to your husband or can you bow to your wife 3 times in full respect? No way. Any parents here, who can bow to your children? No way. Ask yourself, why not? Why can't you do that? Why can't you bow to them? Why can't you pay respects to your husband, your wife, your mom, your dad, your children? Why not? Because in your mind, you think that either you're equal or you're better than them. I have a higher status than you. I'm older than you. I gave birth to you. I know more than you. I've learned more than you. I'm better than you. I'm smarter than you. I'm richer than you. Whatever the reason is, that's why we can't bow to them. And that's exactly why we bow. We bow so that inside our hearts, that big block of ice that's holding our ego, holding our conceitedness, holding our sense of, I'm the best, I'm greater than you, it makes you lower yourself. When you lower your heart, your head, your hands to the floor at someone else's feet, it's so hard to get up and act all cool and all tough to them again, because you just laid everything to the floor. And the same thing, when you bow to the monks, when you bow to the nuns, when you bow to the Buddha statue, what you're doing, you're not paying respects to a statue. You're not paying respects to an old person who died a long time ago. You're teaching yourself to lower the concept of ego, to make it so that you're not the best person in the world. You're not the greatest, the best, the smartest person in the world. There's other people around you who are deserving of respect too. And it helps you be more humble. It helps you, forces you to be more humble through your actions. Number 2, we all heard about ceremonies where we have to do chantings, right? We do Namo Tassa, Arahant, Samma. We do morning chantings, evening chantings. The monks give a chantings after the food. Somebody dies, you come to the temple, the monks give you another chanting, blessings. Why do we have these things? Some people go home and ask, do you practice Buddhism? And they say, yes, I practice Buddhism. How do you practice? I chant every day. I pray and I chant every day. Morning and night, I chant every day. How is this practicing Buddhism? Do you know why these chantings were created? Do you know why Buddhists chant in the first place? Have we ever stopped and asked ourselves why? There's 2 main reasons. One of the main reasons was back in those days, there wasn't a lot of writing down. So people didn't write down a lot. So what they did was they would chant it verbally to practice their memory and keep the teachings accurate and alive. We come together to chant together so that, imagine if we sang a song together. Happy birthday to you, happy birthday to you. But if someone changed the lyrics at some point, what would happen when you try to sing together? The song wouldn't work anymore. And that's why we come to sing it together, so that we preserve the old sounds, the old words, so that the words don't get changed. That's why Buddhist teachings have been able to last for so long, because the songs haven't changed. But why were songs created? Why were chantings created? So that we could learn from the teachings. The teachings that are taught in the Buddhist chantings are not just songs. They're actual teachings from the Buddha or from very good teachers. The point of them is not to chant them and memorize them. The point of them is to learn from them. For example, sometimes people come to the temple and a loved one had just passed away. They're sitting here crying and crying and crying, and the monks give them a chanting. Adasi me, akasi me, yati mita sakata me, and it keeps going. Do you know what this chanting means? This chanting means, he gave to me, I gave to him. Things that we have done together have already been done. So sitting here crying over someone that's died is the worst possible thing you can do. It makes them sad. It makes you sad. It helps nothing. It creates more negative energy in the world. So it's better that you spend your time and efforts coming to a temple to do good merit to give to that person. It's better than you staying home being depressed and crying. But the person listening, do they know this? Do they know what's being told to them? Do they know what's being taught? Or after the monks give you, you give the monks food and the monks give you a blessing, do you know what we say? Do you know what this whole sermon's about? In the end of the first part of the sermon, it says, for those who have a respectful nature, who respect and venerate those who are worthy of respect, and take care of those who are worthy of being taken care of, 4 things will always increase: long life, beauty, strength, and health. These are things that we're trying to teach you, but because over the years it's got lost in the process, we no longer know why we do it, and we just do it as a formality. Or even the last one, which is the most important, is everyone nowadays thinks Buddhism is what? Meditation. Let's all go meditate. Let's all go meditate. Let's all go sit in a big circle, quiet, wear white, and meditate. That's Buddhism. But do you know why we meditate? Meditation is the same thing as taking a knife and sharpening it, or taking a pencil and sharpening it. Let's say little Katie wants to draw me a picture today, and you take your pencil and you sharpen it, and then you put it back in your backpack. Will I get the picture today, Katie? Probably not, right? Because you didn't draw anything yet. And instead of drawing the picture, what does she do? She takes another pencil and sharpens it. Takes another pencil and sharpens it and puts them all back in her backpack. Will I ever get a picture today? No. I won't get any pictures today. Why? Because she didn't draw anything. The same thing with meditation. The reason that we meditate is so that our mind is sharp. Well, why do we need our mind to be sharp? So we can fix our problems. The same thing. We don't understand why we do things. We don't understand why we're listening to a monk talk. We don't understand why we do good merit. We don't understand why we chant. We don't understand why we bow. We don't understand why we're respectful. We don't understand. Because we don't understand, we don't get the benefit of it. It's just like doing a job and not knowing what the pay is. And so when they pay you, you take whatever they give you. You don't care. But if you know how much money you're supposed to be paid, you will ask for what you're owed. You will ask for what you're deserved. And so the important thing is this. As you live through your lives, it doesn't matter if you're young, 5 years old, to you're older, 70, 80 years old. Everything you do has a motivation. Now that motivation is your job to ask questions. Why do I need to do this? What's the point of doing this? Or why should I do this? It's your job to ask questions. Don't just believe. Don't just take everything at face value. Ask the question, what's the point? What was the original intention? What's the meaning of this, and what will I get out of it? It's okay to ask, because if you don't understand, you get nothing out of it. So the topic of today's sermon was what? Knowing the motivation and understanding why you do things. This is the field that make us live our lives correctly. Nah. So I'm going to translate this to Thai for the people who didn't understand the English completely. หัวข้อของการเทศน์วัน